one gets closer to retirement, advisors usually recommend having a large portion of the portfolio in conservative investments such as bonds. What are the currently available Sharia compliant alternatives and how should they be used in that context?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's one that for a lot of people that are either approaching retirement now or trying to plan later is a bit tough sometimes. Modern portfolio theory generally promotes the idea of just having a mix of equity and bonds. And for us, fixed income instruments and bonds are just not permissible because they're loans at interest. So what else can we invest in, or what else can we move our money into? One alternative, although some might debate the viability of it, is precious metals. Yes, there's fluctuation in precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium. However, they do see, for the most part, stability, and they have always been an alternative to bonds when somebody wants to both preserve value as well as have a return. Another alternative that is easily accessible, or becoming more easily accessible, are sukuk, or Islamic bonds. That kind of sounds like a misnomer. It kind of sounds like a contradiction in terms, but essentially all an Islamic bond is, it's a special purpose vehicle that was structured to pay out the equivalent of a bond coupon at certain intervals, while the inner workings of the SPV generate capital through partnerships, sales, and all types of permissible business. Generally, there's a wind-up period at the end, and overages or surpluses are then distributed when there's an exit. So sukuk are something that are available as well. There are a few sukuk. Yeah, I believe there's at least one sukuk ETF here in the US that's available, and that's the WISE X fund from Azad. And around the world, for international users, sukuk are a little bit more accessible, especially in the Middle East and Asia. Others, other clients and other people that I talk to in this area have sometimes moved into industrials, as well as local utilities, companies that generally are very stable, generate income in the long term, and do not experience as much volatility. So yes, it is a challenge, but it is doable through some of those types of investments.
I also wanted to add, you mentioned products that are currently available in the US. There is one more, which is an ETF called SPSK, which was launched, I think, a little over a year ago by the folks over at Sharia Portfolio. I believe the company name is SP Funds that manages their ETFs. And it's exactly that. It's a sukuk that is tradable as an ETF. Obviously, it hasn't been around too long, but maybe something to keep an eye on and kind of worth checking out.
Wonderful. Oh, there's one other thing too. It will take a little bit of investigation, but REITs many times are, a viable stand-in for a bond portfolio. Especially, number one, it should not be a mortgage REIT. They should not be using leverage. It can be a straight equity REIT, and generally they're required by law to pay out in intervals. So that's something which is possible as well. I have heard of some Islamic fund managers trying to do the same in partnering with real estate developers and creating REITs that would be able to fulfill that purpose. I don't know where they've gotten on that, but I think that we'll probably see more of those in the future. So in addition to that one that you mentioned, it was SPSK.
That's right.
Yeah, then I would say also, REITs that are good. I've looked at ticker O before, and pretty much everything is checked out. I don't know the current status of it, but if you're between gold, industrials, sukuk, and or precious metals, industrial, sukuk, and REITs, you should be able to put something together. Another thing is farmland. It might sound odd, but you can invest in farmland. There are a couple of services out there that will give you access to farmland. It has a very stable return. Everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to be supplied with food. So that is another alternative.